Jack is back, but let's talk the first quarter of the new year because it is the perfect opportunity to build momentum. If you can conquer the first 3 months, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the year. Because let's face it, it's not just about starting strong, it's about staying strong. So today I'm sharing 3 strategies that will set you up for success to make quarter 1 the foundation of your best year yet. Let's go. Hey, how's it going? It's Laura and aforementioned Jack. On the first 3 months of the year, like I said, they're such a great opportunity because they help you build momentum, your motivation is high, and chances are that life hasn't fully kicked you in the crotch just yet. But if you are not strategic, it is so easy to lose that spark before the end of January. So let's talk about 3 different ways that you can ride that wave of motivation all the way through the year. Do you remember back in the day, okay, when you were playing a video game and you had to get to a checkpoint in order to be able to save your progress? I'm specifically thinking of Sonic the Hedgehog. That was my favorite game. You can visualize whatever it was for you. But you weren't really worried about, like completing the entire game. You weren't really worried about what was coming up next. You just needed to get yourself to that checkpoint. That is how you would know that you had made solid progress that couldn't be taken away from you. That was your marker to say that you had made it. So instead of setting these vague resolutions or these massive goals, which let's face it, we've all done it, choose one project that you know that you can complete within the first quarter. That is going to be your challenge checkpoint. So it's not about starting 10 different things or even one massive thing. It's about focusing intently on one small thing that is going to make a meaningful difference in your life. So how do you pick what project to focus on? Well, ask yourself this question. What is that one thing that if it was done, it would just release a massive weight, it would lift a massive weight off your shoulders, or it would make a significant difference to your life? Something small, actionable, tangible, like maybe just decluttering your kitchen cupboards. Maybe you want to get a handle on your finances, or there's a new skill that you want to learn. A recent one of mine was getting myself back into a good sleep schedule. So we had a few sicknesses in the house in November that I hurt my back, which did not lead to great nights of sleep. Then the dog, for some reason, was restless for a few nights. She was really unsettled. We're still not 100% sure why, but yes, very unsettled during the night. So that was more broken sleep. So I knew that if I wanted to get anything done and to feel like half human again, I needed to get my sleep back on track. So that's what I did. I focused on that. I focused on winding down a little bit earlier in the evening so that come the bedtime that I had set for myself to make sure that I was getting enough sleep, I would actually be tired. I would have finished everything that I wanted to do. That was my challenge checkpoint, and I knew that once I hit it, I would then be able to push forward and take on other challenges. Now, 2 things to note here. The first, your challenge does not have to be 90 days out. Just because we're talking about the first quarter doesn't mean that you can only have one thing that's going to take up the entire quarter. It is just one project to start with until you hit your challenge checkpoint. That is your focus, and then when you get to that checkpoint, you can recalibrate, you can take some time to choose what your next checkpoint will be. Checkpoints let you know that you have built momentum, that you have made solid progress, that you've got yourself to a certain stage, and they also allow you a moment to celebrate, to regroup before you take on the next challenge. The second thing to watch out for, I've had to watch out for this a lot in my life, that is trying to pick the perfect project, wanting to start with the right thing. Listen, throw that out the window. Just pick one thing, anything that you think will make a positive impact in your life. This is not a right or wrong situation, okay? It's not a case of this door leads to the castle and this door leads to certain death. High fives if you get that reference. Let me know in the comments because we are kindred spirits. There are many paths you could take and they will all work out just fine if you focus on small, consistent progress. So choose one. And away you go. The magic of a challenge checkpoint is that it creates this domino effect. Reaching one builds kind of momentum, it builds a little bit of confidence in yourself, and it spurs you on then to take on bigger challenges. You take on bigger and bigger bosses until you get to the ultimate Dr. Robotnik. What is the first checkpoint you will work towards? It's basically just baby steps, but a little bit more fun. Now for strategy 2, you're going to forget about time management because I'll let you in on a little secret. All that talk about how everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, that makes me want to tear my hair out because, yeah, okay, it's technically true, but not everyone has the same resources and privileges. Instead, let's talk about energy management. We all have different levels of energy, and this is true on an individual basis as well, because even throughout the week your energy can ebb and flow, even throughout the day. So for me, I suffer from a few chronic conditions like scoliosis, migraines, chronic pain, and while they are for the most part manageable, I do have days where I just can't function at the same level. This used to frustrate me so much because there were certain days where my brain was willing and able, you know, I was full of ideas and motivation and inspiration, but my body just could not keep up. Or even vice versa, you know, there were days where my body was ready to go, I was full of physical energy, but my brain was bleak. So over the years, I have found 2 ways to handle this. The first is to balance brain energy and body energy. I have talked about this in the past and I will continue talking about it until I am blue in the face because I feel like it's so foundational and yet I never hear anyone else talking about it. I had to figure this one out for myself. Now, it's an oversimplification, but basically I have found that my body has 2 batteries. It has my brain battery, which is responsible for all of like my mental and emotional processes, and then my body battery, which is responsible for all of my physical energy. And you have probably experienced this phenomenon and maybe just not even notice, but you know, if you've been like rushing and racing around all day and you're exhausted and you collapse into bed that night and then you spend half the night staring at the ceiling, it's because your body battery, while that is empty, your brain battery is fully charged. Now, the aim is not to keep both of them topped up. The aim is just to make sure that they both have a chance to recharge. And this does not have to happen at the same time. You know, if I have a task that is very mentally demanding, which a lot of my work would be, I alternate that with a task that is a little bit more physically demanding but less mentally so walking the dog or doing a little bit of housework, and that way while my body is working, my brain then is getting a chance to recharge. Having a good balance between mentally or emotionally draining tasks and physically draining tasks is how you are going to better manage your energy levels. So following on from that, the second way I have found to maintain my energy levels is to assign levels to tasks. Each task essentially sits in its own little energy zone. You've got some tasks that require high energy, some that require medium energy, and then others that don't require much energy at all. When I was first experimenting with this a few years ago, I used a traffic light system. So I would literally mark my tasks red for, you know, tasks that require a lot of high energy, like these are going to drain me tasks, then orange for medium tasks, and then green for the low energy, the light tasks. This was a great visual representation for me because it meant I could better plan my days. Because, you know, it's all well and good focusing on your top 3 priorities for the day, which is very common advice. But if those top 3 priorities are tasks that require a huge amount of energy, you're probably not going to get them done. You need to have a bit of a mix, not even just throughout your day, but also throughout your week. This means that you will be able to better manage your energy levels throughout the week, but it also means that you can better assess your energy levels and match that with a task that is more suited to how you feel. So if you wake up one day and you just don't have the energy, or if as the day goes on you have found that you are in pain or your energy has drained, you can pick a task, if you still want to do something, that is more suited to your current energy levels. So like I said, I used to feel really frustrated about this, you know, on my low energy days. But what I started doing then was picking one of those green light tasks. So something like just planning out the rest of the week, or maybe even just finishing a library book. It gave me a win without draining me further. It gave me a chance to rest and recharge. So what would be an example of a green task for you? Now, I do want to say, you do not have to have all of this mapped out in the first quarter. You don't have to get it right straight off the bat, but just start to notice how your energy naturally ebbs and flows. Use it to write those lists of things that you can do on your low energy days, you know, those green tasks. Make sure that they include rest, relaxation, self-care. Use the first quarter to slowly start moving your schedule or planning your schedule around your brain and your body batteries. Start planning things that have a mix of different types of tasks, and notice how you feel after you've done a task. Like, how drained do you feel after a certain task? Also start to notice which tasks seem to work really well together. You can also start to analyze your energy levels, you know, at the end of the day, and try to figure out what contributed to either high energy levels or very low energy levels, and just use it all as information to inform you as you move forward. Basically, just start to work with your lifestyle, with your natural rhythms and routines instead of against them. That is how you are going to be able to sustain energy and momentum instead of, you know, going all in at the beginning of the year, like a lot of us do, and then completely draining yourself dry before the end of January. Another thing that used to frustrate me so much was basically feeling resistance to everything. So, you know, like I mentioned how I hate that phrase about everyone having 24 hours, same 24 hours in the day. I also dislike the phrase eating a frog, you know, doing the hardest, most awful task first. I used to give this advice and then I recanted in this video because I just could never make it work for me. Like, it sounds like solid advice, but I just don't think it works for everyone. Listen, if it works for you, that is wonderful, but some of us need time to build up to things, okay? Some of us do not leap out of bed in the morning full of the joys, ready to take on the day. No, we need a little buffer. We need time to ease into things. So like, I love my job. I really love it, but I'm not always excited to do it. And that doesn't really make sense, but that is the truth of it. And I used to try and push myself to do the worst parts of it first, but all that led me to was more resistance. I was like a sulky child. Like, I didn't want to do the hard thing, and then I didn't want to do anything. Nowadays, okay, now that I am older and a little bit wiser, I don't wait around for that motivation. Instead, I try and create it. So I have what you might call momentum Mondays. It's when I start the week not with all the difficult, awful stuff, but with stuff that I actually enjoy to help me build momentum for the rest of the week. For me, that is creating and scheduling social posts, because it requires a lot less brain power than recording and editing a video, but it also is still something that is productive. And then it helps me go about the rest of my week with a little bit more focus. Like, I feel like I got a win in. I feel like it wasn't too difficult. And I feel more confident then to tackle these slightly more challenging tasks, knowing that like all of the social stuff is taken care of. That's how I ease myself into the week. It doesn't mean that I'm putting off all the hard stuff. It just means I'm giving myself a little bit of a run up to them. So yeah, the idea is simple. Just start your week with a small win that is going to set the tone. It's going to set you up for the rest of the week. If you have something that is a small win for you, drop it in the comments. Let's share some good ideas. Or if your week is not kind of the typical Monday to Friday type of week, maybe you work shift work, or just like you have a whole different schedule, or maybe you just need regular doses of this, you could switch it to momentum mornings, where you get a small win first thing in the morning to set yourself up. So for a lot of people, this could be as simple as just drinking a cup of coffee in peace for a few minutes. So what is a task or an activity that would give you a little bit of energy, just give you a little bit of boost, help you ease into the day, help you kind of like wake up and just get your brain a little bit more alert. Something that would help you break down a little bit of resistance so you can grease the wheels, get them slowly moving. And like with the domino effect that we talked about earlier, this then is going to build the momentum, the snowball effect that you need to go from strength to strength. And listen, sometimes it takes a village. Sometimes it takes good advice from people. Sometimes it takes having supportive people in your corner cheering you on. You can get all of that and so much more, including my complete goal setting course, like from start to finish, in our online community, the GYST Fellowship. So if you feel you would benefit from that, I will leave the information here for you. You will find support, you will find accountability, and just all the tools you need to make next year your most intentional one yet. But yeah, these 3 strategies, your challenge checkpoints, balancing your energy levels, and having a momentum Monday or a momentum morning, are really powerful because first, they're practical, but also they tap into your mindset and your habits and how you actually work instead of trying to force something. They're about making consistent progress without burning out. They're about your goals, making it past January. Until next time, go raibh míle maith agaibh, agus feicim mé sibh se go luath. Slán!